November 26, 1922, Valley of the Kings, Egypt. British archaeologist Howard Carter has just drilled a small hole through an ancient stone wall. He holds a candle up to the opening. Hot air, sealed inside for over 3,000 years, rushes out and nearly extinguishes the flame. His financial backer, Lord Carnarvon, is standing right behind him. "Can you see anything?" Carnarvon whispers. Carter pauses for a long moment. Then he says, "Yes, wonderful things." What Carter saw in that moment was a tomb packed with over 5,000 golden artifacts, treasures so breathtaking, so impossibly beautiful that even hardened archaeologists wept when they first laid eyes on them. It was the greatest archaeological discovery of the 20th century, and within months, the man standing behind Carter was dead, and then another person connected to the tomb was dead, and then another and another, until by 1935, newspapers were claiming the pharaoh's curse had killed over 20 people. But here's what nobody told you. The curse wasn't in the tomb. The real mystery is far darker, far stranger, and far more human than any supernatural experience. Tonight, we go all the way in. Before November 1922, Tutankhamun was almost completely unknown, even to Egyptologists, and that wasn't an accident. His name had been deliberately erased from history. Tutankhamun was born around 1341 BC, the son of one of the most controversial pharaohs in Egyptian history, Akhenaten, the so-called heretic pharaoh, who had tried to abolish all of Egypt's gods in favor of a single solar deity called Aten. Akhenaten tore down temples. He outlawed the priesthood of Amun, the most powerful religious institution in Egypt. He moved the entire capital to a new city he built from scratch in the desert. When Akhenaten died, the priests took back everything. They destroyed his temples. They erased his name from every monument. They declared his reign to have never existed. And because Tutankhamun was his son, the boy who had briefly ruled Egypt from roughly age 9 to 18 before dying under mysterious circumstances, Tut was erased too. For more than 3,000 years, Tutankhamun lay in his sealed tomb in the Valley of the Kings, forgotten by history, hidden beneath the debris of a later pharaoh's construction project, undisturbed and undiscovered. Howard Carter spent 7 years, funded by Lord Carnarvon's private fortune, digging methodically through the valley. By 1922, Carnarvon was losing patience and about to pull the plug on the entire project. And then, on November 4th, 1922, a young Egyptian workman named Hussein Abdel Rasul found a step cut into a chunk of bedrock, buried under 70,000 tons of sand and gravel. Fact, the team cleared the staircase over 3 weeks and found 16 steps leading to a sealed door bearing the cartouche of Tutankhamun, a name no one had seen in 3 millennia. When Carter and Carnarvon finally entered the antechamber on November 26, 1922, they found a room that had not been touched since 1323 BC. Over 700 objects were piled in a space the size of a large living room. Gilded furniture, dismantled chariots, life-size statues of the king painted in gold and black, alabaster jars, a golden throne, ritual objects, weapons, clothing, food, everything a young king would need for eternity. It took Carter and his team 10 years to fully excavate, document, and remove the contents of the tomb. 10 years of meticulous, painstaking work. Every object was photographed in place before being moved. Every inscription was translated. Carter treated the discovery with a reverence that future archaeologists still praise. When they finally reached the burial chamber itself, they found 4 gilded shrines nested inside each other, like Russian dolls, each one painted with golden texts and images of the gods. Inside the innermost shrine was a quartzite sarcophagus. Inside that, 3 nested coffins. The innermost coffin, 110 pounds of solid gold, held the mummified body of an 18-year-old boy wearing a golden death mask inlaid with lapis lazuli, carnelian, and obsidian. The Mask of Tutankhamun is considered by many art historians to be the single most beautiful object ever created by human hands. It weighs 24 pounds and is made of 99.99% pure gold. The eyes are painted with the precision of a modern jeweler. The expression on the face is serene, confident, and very young. But there was a dark detail that the public wasn't told for years. When Carter and his team removed Tutankhamun's mummy from the innermost coffin, they found the body had stuck to the inside of the gold casket from centuries of contact with the solidified resins used in the mummification process. To remove the mummy, they had to physically disarticulate it, cutting the body apart. The head was removed, the limbs were detached.
watched. The boy king who had ruled Egypt 3,000 years ago was literally broken apart to be studied.
Lord Carnarvon never saw the burial chamber fully excavated. He died on April 5th, 1923, just 5 months after entering the tomb, from an infected mosquito bite that became septic. He was in Cairo when the infection spread to his blood. He died in the early hours of the morning. His son later claimed that all the lights in Cairo went out at the exact moment of his father's death. Back in England, Carnarvon's dog, a fox terrier named Susie, reportedly let out a howl and dropped dead at the same hour. The press went into a frenzy. A novelist named Marie Corelli had already written weeks earlier that the most dire punishment follows any intruder into a sealed tomb. Now, headlines screamed. Pharaoh's curse claims first victim. The deaths kept coming. George J. Gould, an American railroad millionaire who had visited the tomb, died of pneumonia soon after. Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, the radiologist who x-rayed Tutankhamun's mummy, died in 1924 during surgery. Arthur Mace, a member of Carter's excavation team, died in 1928. Carter's secretary, Richard Bethel, was found smothered to death in his bed at a London gentleman's club in 1929. His murder was never solved. Bethel's father committed suicide shortly after, reportedly throwing himself from his apartment window in a fit of grief. Fact, by 1935, newspapers had linked over 21 deaths to the curse of Tutankhamun. Howard Carter himself, the first person to enter the tomb, the man who spent more time there than anyone, died of cancer in 1939, 17 years after the discovery. Not much of a curse. Here is the real picture. The average age of the major curse victims who died early was over 57, already elderly by 1920s era. Many had pre-existing illnesses. Several died of entirely unrelated causes. The press was sensationalizing coincidence, and they had help because Lord Carnarvon had given exclusive media rights to the Times of London, locking every other newspaper out of the biggest story in the world. Those excluded journalists had every incentive to manufacture an alternative narrative, and the curse was born.
But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Because while the supernatural curse was fiction, some scientists have asked a more serious question. Could something organic and biological inside the tomb have caused deaths? In 1999, a German microbiologist named Gotthard Kramer analyzed 40 Egyptian mummies and found preserved samples of several potentially dangerous molds, including Aspergillus niger and Aspergillus flavus, species that can cause serious respiratory illness in humans with weakened immune systems. Ancient tombs, sealed for thousands of years, can harbor concentrated accumulations of these organisms. The theory is this: when Carter's team broke the seal and entered, they breathed in the accumulated spores of 3 millennia. For most of the team, young, healthy men, nothing happened. But for older members, or those with compromised immune systems, like Carnarvon, who already had chronic lung problems from a car accident years earlier, the exposure could have been dangerous. No study has conclusively proven this, but it's not supernatural. It's biology. It's chemistry. It's what happens when you open a sealed room that hasn't had fresh air since 1323 BC. Now, let's talk about the part of this story that Egyptologists still argue about today. In 2015, British Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves published a paper arguing that ground-penetrating radar scans of Tutankhamun's burial chamber revealed hidden walls, and behind those walls, what appeared to be 2 concealed chambers. His theory that Tutankhamun's tomb was actually built as an annex to the tomb of Queen Nefertiti, the wife of the heretic pharaoh Akhenaten, and that Nefertiti's burial chamber lies just beyond the northern wall. The Egyptian government conducted radar scans in 2016 and 2017. The results were contradictory. One team found evidence of hidden chambers. Another team found nothing. A third team's results were never fully published. Access to conduct proper excavation has been restricted. To this day, the northern wall of Tutankhamun's burial chamber has never been physically opened. What, if anything, lies beyond it? Fact: Nefertiti, one of the most powerful queens in Egyptian history, has never been definitively identified among any known mummies. Her tomb has never been found. She simply disappeared from history. If Reeves is correct, if Nefertiti's undisturbed burial chamber lies just meters from where we found Tutankhamun,
it would be the single greatest archaeological discovery ever made, larger than Tutankhamun himself. That discovery is waiting. The question is whether Egypt will let the world world find it.
3,000 years ago, a teenage boy was buried in gold and forgotten. His name was erased. His father's revolution was buried with him, and the priests of Egypt rebuilt their power on the grave of a child who had done nothing wrong. In 1922, two men with candles and a flashlight undid 3 millennia of erasure in a single moment. Wonderful things, Carter said. He was right. More wonderful than any of them knew. The curse was always a story we told ourselves because the truth was too complicated. The truth is that a boy died at 18. His tomb survived because everyone forgot it, and the greatest secrets of ancient Egypt may still be waiting just beyond a wall for someone to finally look. Subscribe, share this, and come back because there is so much more where this came from.